Welcome to our September 2025 Dane County Certified Land Steward Coffee Hour. Starting out here, we have a full screen. Orb weaver at Holy Wisdom. We were just talking about shamrock orb weavers. And monarch on perhaps their second favorite plant, the meadow blazing star. Some nice things we've been seeing around this last couple weeks. Okay, so starting out this coffee hour, we have to address the elephant in the room. We no longer have plans. Our volunteer coordinator has left us. Who do you contact? So multiple people. Keep telling everyone it takes 4 people to do their job. So it depends on what it is you need to talk to about. But if this is natural areas related, you will continue to contact myself or Lars or Kane, whatever your question may be. If it is something that is like general volunteer, as in something not related to natural area specific, like if it needs help with better impact or something like that, or our website, you can direct questions to Joe, our assistant volunteer coordinator. She works 30 hours a week, so she's not available as often as we are, but she does have some availability most weekdays. And then if you're unable to reach Joe, or if you have a question specifically about friends groups, you can reach out to Lael, who is the manager for education and visitor services. So that should cover it. When in doubt, you can always just send it to the parks volunteer at danecounty.gov email. That's something that myself and Joe and Lael all see. And that's something that Joe monitors equally with her own email. So you can always send it there. If you're not sure who's supposed to go to, then it'll get corrected from that. Any questions about program stuff? Moving on. Upcoming training and opportunities. We do have the chainsaw classes that were promised for so long are now happening this fall, and they're almost full already. There is some space left in the SAW 101, which is day in November. And then I believe a couple of the within gender minority SAW classes also have space. There's also the native plant grower training. This is a newish thing coming from Susan and Teresa, who do work with the plant potting, like the grow for sustained gain and stuff like that. So, planting. So they are encouraging volunteers to be empowered to help us grow buds of plants that will then be given out to the community. So definitely if you're interested in growing native plants, they have a training coming up for that on November 9th. And then our prescribed fire training is almost full. There's like 1 slot left. That is December 3rd. There will be more coming in February. They're just not up yet on our website. And then Certified Land Steward training in January is already full. And we'll be having our prescribed fire refreshers in February, which are for those who've already taken the baseline class. Just like a re-upping of that. And no coffee hour planned out yet. We're very last minute right now. Lots been going on. So, yeah. Our usual land steward work days, kind of written a little bit differently this time, but we have the restoration work days at Schumacher with John, Lower Mud with Kathy. There's the restoration work days on Saturdays that Liz and Wendy do with Donald, and then on Tuesdays with Chuck. And then there is one coming up at Steward with Jack on October 11th. And then I planted here for the first time the restoration work days at Anderson. They're not on our website. we have to look at the Friends of Anderson to reach out to them to contact them, but that is every second Saturday. I know they've been wanting to support out there, but just throwing that in there. Any other Land Steward Workday updates? Anybody wants to shout out? Okay. And then our work days, more seed collection. Pretty much 4 days a week. There's a couple of random days where there had to be different because of our schedules. But it's most Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays. So a lot of those coming up this month. And then we are doing our seed cleanings at Libby every other Monday right now at Libby Road. And that will go into November. It'll start being every day. So, yeah, so that's what's going on with us.
May I ask how well the seed collecting is going this year?
Attendance wise, it's been really good this last week. Ever since I sent out a reminder about needing some more folks who have turned out, it's been great. We've had some corporate groups, so there's been some really big seed collection days. Some species are a little more scarce than usual, like they're not in quantities in places where they traditionally have been. But we've got some really good falls, like there's a ton of white wild indigo this year, and that was really good last year, so yeah, I think it's going pretty well. The shed is mostly full currently, I think, so that's always good stuff. Yeah. There you go. Recent city halls, things we've gotten a lot of this past week. We got a ton of anise hyssop, showy sunflower, lead plant, and multiple of the Susans, as I like to call them. Some really great work days, including Friends of Anderson had the Edgewood students from Edgewood the community out. They collected a bunch of seeds, so seeds coming from all angles. I like to see them. So, seeds that are ready, this is by no means a comprehensive list, it's just what I had time to write down this morning. But lots of things ready right now. As usual, I say if you have like something that's ready in your park, don't assume that we know about it, feel free to remind us. Or if you have some little population of something and you get a chance to collect it, and you want to share that seed with us, that's great. If you don't have a lot of it, you probably just want to spread it around with your park where you to encourage more. But if you've got something to share, please go ahead and bring it to Libby. We're happy to have. So rattlesnake master is ready, thimbleweeds are ready, Culver's root, multiple bone set species, hyssops, cardinal flower, monkey flower, great St. John's wort, all of the milkweeds, many more. We haven't gotten a ton of milkweed yet, and we do eat a lot for our monarch grant. So if you have milkweed and you want to give it to us, feel free. Yeah, any milkweed. If anybody's unfamiliar with the seed shed at Libby, this is what it looks like. This is it about max capacity for this room. There's tools on the floor. You bring in seed that you want to drop off. There is a counter in the back that has a little label on it. You can put in a label of whatever species you brought, put it in a pool and sit on a rack.
Can I ask about the milkweed? I was just wondering if that could be something like here's the but found a big patch of it. Do you want it when it's fluffed out? Do you want it that dry? What's the right stage?
We've definitely collected a lot of it green. What would get you?
No, I think it doesn't really matter. You're gonna lose some from making the stage,
Yeah.
so split open a few of the pods that haven't cracked yet. It's, the seeds are brown inside, that means they're ready. Like, even if the pod hasn't cracked. Correct, if you open the pods and they're white or sort of translucent, then they're too early. You don't need to check every one, but you do a couple like spot checks on city pods. If they see brown and good to go and they're not cracked open yet, that's a good stage.
Yeah, it's been kind of a range across the county, it seems like. In some places, it's already like this where it's fluffing out, and in other places, they were still like pretty wet inside when I opened them, so depends on where you're at right now.
Yeah, it's dovetails nicely. So occasionally, there are a few giftings that come out early. I spent some time there. No, the whole Chicago area have a lot of really nice park systems, forest reserve districts. And Lake County has a lot of land, a lot of restoration work occurring. And they put together this seed collection guide that you can find online this is one of the URLs funded. Or you can buy a hard copy book that supports their volunteer program down there. And they've done a really nice job of organizing a very comprehensive list of species, which is mostly the same species that we have here, and giving you some pretty good information about the species and how to collect them, when to collect them, what the right plants look like. You've got to kind of creatively put in categories here that aren't necessarily based on how the species are related taxonomically, but that's not what we really care about. That's not plant ecologist cares about. What we care about is how the seeds look on the plants, and they got them, categorized by whether they shake out at the top, whether they have like a little beak that open, whether they have cone heads. They've got ones that stick as hitchhikers. They've got ones that fly open. You can see the list there. And then they also have it categorized very nicely by what time of year they are becoming ripe and what habitats they're in, forbs versus grasses or sedges. So you can look through this book, the next page here, and find the species you're interested in. Every species has a nice account of kind of these pictures, what the plant looks like, the seed capsule, and then some information about it. Is it one of these fluffy ones? Is it one of these that eject? Does it stay on the seed head, or does it drop right away? That's very important to know, because how much time you have, how urgent it is to get out there to collect that species. Some are very time sensitive. Some of them you can come back a few weeks later, they're still going to be sitting on the plant, so you prioritize other things. I'd recommend looking it online or ordering a copy. Help reduce the cost. But it's better than any other guide I've seen for seed production. Yeah, go ahead.
I noticed on the previous slide, there was a section about berries. Where would you classify those things? Because it said the berries should be probably sown and fresh to keep the seeds in. Put in the refrigerator. I was wondering about those things.
Those we don't see fresh. We actually dry those out, and then we throw them through the hammer mill so that they split open, all the hips split open. And then we clean them on the fanning mill just like any other species. Seed them in the winter on the snow, and we pretty reliably have roses coming into all of our plantings. So, just because it's a berry doesn't mean it's always going to be sown fresh or sown a certain way. There are differences within those fruit types or those seed structures. So,
Blueberries be so fresh?
maybe it is, but yeah, I don't know if we see anything fresh. Maybe we should be seeing something fresh, but that's not typically what we do. Usually it's those eliosomes, the early spring bloomers that have the sugar packets, so the other spring bloomers that ripen fall really early, the ones that usually focus on seeing those fresh, because they tend to dry out or go dormant. So, so check out that guide. We do have other plant guides, but this one really goes deep into this collection side of things. Makes it pretty understandable to people of a lot of different levels of training. Yeah.
Wow, that was all we
That
had.
was a quick one.
Lots of time for discussion.
Acorns,
Acorns. Wow.
when's the best time?
Mm.
Just collect them, scatter them. We planted some along the slope last year. But there's privilege, like I'm buying all these one. Everybody already back so.
Well, we have some experience with the acorns. We tried it at Lakeview Hill, the ages where the tree failed. And we couldn't get really good success with planting straight acorn into the ground. I've seen great success with that, but I think what happened with our plantings is the squirrels saw that the soil was disturbed or something, and they went for around chipmunks and stuff, or they see that you've planted something, and they know there's something in there, and maybe another squirrel planted it not there, they can hey. So it can be hard, but by acorn is often a good method. Right? There's no transplant shock, like when you plant a tree. There's no watering really needed. Low input. Very easy to put a lot of acorns in the ground. Just know that a lot of iron make it. It's nice to catch them like on a blanket or a tarp. It can damage acorns falling into the ground. One thing that's nice to do when you plant acorns is to know that you're planting good. Which the way to tell if it's good or it's bad is to put it into a trough of a tub of water. And the ones that sink heavier, and those are the good ones. The ones that float, it's probably got a hole in them, and something bug has gotten in there, and you got some of the acorn meat, and then there's a air in there that makes it float. So you'll see from year to year, but it's a big difference. Is like sometimes a whole heck of a lot of them are going to float, and it's been a big year for acorn pests. And then next year, like there's a lot of good ones. It'll be different from tree to tree, and put a tarp or blanket out, less picking up of individual acorn get dudes. Come and grab that blanket at the end of the day, float them, and then you know which ones are good. Just stick them in the ground, decide to cage them or not. But caging works.
Does forestry have one of those big hydraulic forks, the big trees?
Over transplanting.
Yeah. Because there are a couple of really nice ropes that are too big that's like.
Oh, they do have this state, I think that we call it. I don't know how big it is.
Yeah. The bigger they are, usually the harder it is. But they're still small.
Well, they're 4 or 5 feet.
Oh,
Get the thing for the
maybe for a bigger state than that. But I don't.
What time of year is that for?
Oh. They already start falling in August.
Yeah. I mean, you want to put it around the ground pretty soon.
Yeah, I'd probably put it in right away. You use it.
I figured about that, I'll give them
Yeah.
And I don't know that they like won't last, like it's a hard nut, we'll probably find them the next year, right? Somebody can still be, surviving. Sure, it drops off over time, but I don't think it's like, don't get it that fall, if that's dead or something. If you could do it.
The only challenge is sometimes they sprout your bad, or they'll dry out. And I think it's
And you could
what the, from the tree, you have to the ground or?
No, I
Yeah.
mean, you can, but it's sort of hard to grab them, so just let them fall onto the tarp. That's the best.
Oh, I think you leave the park there for.
Yes.
a Couple of weeks, a month or whatever.
Yes. Let them fall onto the tarp, yeah.
All right.
Sometimes going to days, years. Make it crazy.
The, white oaks, I believe they're the ones that put the roots down right away, because they fall with the drop, and then the red oak doesn't do that till like spring. So the red oaks, I think are like once behind the white oaks in their germination and sprouting. For some reason. So I wouldn't pull white oak next. It's gonna want roots. I believe that's the. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I
So
think,
white, okay.
oh,
Site-specific questions?
Did you, at Dane Park, before reviewing what you were saying to you, did you put in and spray honeysuckle? And were you in that area called Fountain, that town?
Spring.
Farm was it, okay, boy, that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Yes.
Yeah, we never see it, but we just see the work that he's
Yes.
done.
Yes.
We just think, okay, all right, great. Is there any area you missed that you should? Obviously, a little, not this, oh, I know where maybe. The top of that, of the ridge, so that ridge. I climbed up there, there's the program. There, up there, and
Yeah,
Bramble.
out into the prairie, more like spreading into the prairie.
No, pretty much up top. There was a patch of prairie, but I got that myself.
I might have gotten that stuff.
At the very top, on the Bramble. Very low, that was very low.
Like that.
Okay, yeah, well, all right. That would be-
This is a great time of year for brush spraying, which and you can continue doing it well into October, before it stays green for so long. And on so. So, and then also a lot of our native stuff are like dormant this time of the year. So, you might not impact growth spray, the drift on the good native stuff. And so you can keep treating into well into October, basically, depending on how the weather's going. And get a lot of your brush, your sprouts and seedlings this tall. Too small to cut and treat over the winter time, and so next year maybe twice a day. So this is a good time of year now that there's no more weeds, all the, garlic monster, things, right? All that stuff going on, done, or killed, or drop seed. And for seed collecting, but then also we try to get spraying projects for this time of the year. It's a lot easier with less bugs now, and less heat and all that too, so.
Maybe, I think it was last year, we collected wildlife grass there in the park. For the piece of new areas, is there any need for more of that?
There's more, yep. I would say there's gonna be some bare areas that never took or never got seeded in all of those patches of savanna that y'all worked on. And I know there's ballot brush up in Mary's Prairie area, maybe not a whole lot if you really go through there. But you can see about getting some more up there and scattering it, and we'll likely have plenty to go around for getting this validated.
Speaking of jobs, we
Yeah.
work day after, it was something that will be on Saturday.
Yeah, and also the new prairie planting right on Sutter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's looking really, really good in there. We've got a lot of different species that are collected from there. And then that would obviously just lead directly across the street for the next prairie planting coming up this winter. So we can chat and meet out there sometime and talk about what species to find out go after, if you'd like.
Yeah, so it's still time.
Yeah.
After the.
Yeah. Very exciting.
I have an obscure question. I always do. I've been interested in learning how to use a scythe. But I thought someone said something sometime about using the water. Maybe I just read it referenced. Anybody know anything about it?
We might have mentioned it because, when I tell people to be careful when they're cutting things, I talk about my friend that the end of the finger out for no hand sickles. But I've seen people use it to cut weeds and to collect grasses. But I can't say that I've used it a ton. Usually it's like a single handheld, and it's like yay big, and then you're like gathering handfuls of stuff. So you can use it like I cut down sweet clover and like a steep slope with it. And then I've also seen it used for gathering grasses that way, like grass seed. But I don't know much about like making them or whether it's super efficient or helpful, but.
I was thinking it might be a simple, quick, silent way to get a few things putting up here and there. But I know you have to sharpen the blade a lot. Take something out or wet something with me for out of the field. But it can be handy as difficult to access areas perhaps.
Yeah, I think I see that. Yeah, would that be sharpening with a flat file or something?
So,
Maybe a flat file, like you do with parts and fibers and stuff. Or random file or something.
Well, I'm just researching now. It's only offhand. Okay.
we used to have a couple of those old spot ones. They had
No,
one, so,
river.
yeah, we ended up getting rid of them.
Another frog used for Halloween.
Yeah. But there's some people that I know that use them in their parks, because they like it better than other, not county parks, but other places. I know there's a definite like to it. It's not so strenuous and you're really.
But I think it would be really cool, so I want to hear how your research goes.
I do have a good source of friend too. The Low Tech Institute, the Low Technology Institute, he does weed threshing and harvesting workshop.
Oh, that's actually what triggered the memory. Months ago, I read something about it, I wanted to get one. And I forgot about it. It's been pressed with artwork and everything. But then I was watching some show on Netflix, and the guy was about to use one to cut a field of wheat. He didn't want to do it. It was too much work, and he threw the side down and puffed off. I thought, well, wait a minute, that's a big tool. So cutting, I can't for cutting grain. Yeah.
Yeah, goes to workshop, there you go.
I've seen this room as a fond knowledge. Thank you.
A question on the tree line going to the north. So
Yeah.
the brome is so thick in there, does it really keep re-sowing in there? I think so. So naturally.
Yeah, we've had really good luck. Well, that's Kathy.
It's like one guy
Yeah.
at his home.
Florida, but that's
Basically, research is great, obviously, third floors,
all coming
building
building
without, like,
Okay.
like, well, we grass, all kinds of fiber.
beautiful.
We've been doing that more and more where we just seed into brown grass. One of the keys is burn. So we can burn the sites, which we compare to. And it just sort of doesn't very well and melts away over time. But it gets out. So we've only done grass seeding, I think, in that strip.
Well, the waterway that they would get this year sold in a lot of different seed.
Oh,
And then there was a small area that I had to go back. So it's a seed.
yeah, it takes a couple of years before you see like. Forever. But it, sure enough, over time, it makes just. Yeah.
I'm reminding myself to speak up slightly because we have this thing that's creating background sound. Bill, what did you want to say about the Low Tech Institute?
Well, I was just curious how they entered the conversation because I couldn't quite hear, but I just heard the name.
Oh, Phil, I asked about using a scythe for,
Yeah.
grass or weeds, and
Yeah.
Courtney mentioned the Low Tech Institute, where a man uses one to cut wheat. So that's. what
Oh, I see. Yeah. And they offer different classes on various old ways of doing things. Yeah. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. I've never heard where is it Evansville? They're in Evansville.
What did you come across that or?
I helped at the garden expo, and then I helped like plant his food and stuff. I don't know how I heard about him before that. I don't know. I just randomly, yeah. Heard of you. Yeah. I like sat there, she taught me how to carve wool, and so I was just like carving, and so I was a demonstrator for that. I was just like, oh, this is fun.
I have the old pair of gold carding that my great grandmother used to do our gold for like big stuff.
Yeah.
Secret.
Other questions, discussion points?
Third line. If that's been sitting around for a while, is it? That
Are we talking with Stump next or just Garland for this year?
the stuff that we could get for these guys. I'm only asking because when we had our first workday and of the season, and Wendy was noticing that it seemed kind of thin. How that works, being settled on the farm. Is that, I'm wondering. Okay.
So we've asked our supplier, because we have 200-gallon tub of it. You've ever seen that, Libby? And by the time we pump out, it gets to the very bottom of that 200 gallons. Sometimes it's like a little bit of a slurry texture. Kind of a little bit more soup and thick texture. We was puzzled, like, it should be doing that, but if it does, just give it a little shake. Yeah, so.
Yeah, 500 gallon, no. Well, I had one of those standard ones that you give us.
Yeah, so-
It's not completely full, so it can't be shaken.
Yeah,
But I was curious as to, oh my God, so is that gonna be less of?
no, I wouldn't worry.
It was running fast, and it wasn't that warm, so I didn't know.
Give it a little shake, but I don't think it's any production.
No, I don't, I don't waste time.
I doubt it's like the chemical is separated from the oil. It might be dye, yeah.
Yeah, the guy definitely said, like, said for a while, they got me shaking.
That's probably what it's doing.
I have a question about basal heart. Yeah. What do you use? Is there just like one thing that you use, or do you depend on what you're treating?
You can use the same stuff mixture that is basal oil. Should work for everything. Exactly, it's a great, pre-mixed, every use tool. I love it.
But, after what I am.
So it's more about how much you apply, you know, from what I know anecdotally, if it's more than like a couple inches, let's say if it's greater than 4 inches, you might have to apply it more than once to fully kill the tree, but I have seen like fully ground cherries killed by basal barking. But you're putting on, you know, this much around the entire thing. So it's just making sure your application is really heavy. Usually I use it for, you know, risk size and smaller, but it's the chemical girdle essentially, and it goes through the bark. So hypothetically, it's size doesn't matter.
I was thinking of the aspic samples. Because there are some small pockets of my
Oh, okay.
we tried it, wasn't I last spring with some saplings over a head. And we use the backpack sprayers, which we hadn't used before. We would try, they weren't hard to use. And it worked, those things are dead, they're snapping off, we was there the other day getting some residual sumac out, and I asked them. Thoughts were beetles, and they push right over the snap.
Yeah, people were it's good for aspen because it doesn't sucker, right? So, yeah, that's a great tool.
I even used, on my own land, just a small patch of aspen seedlings that came out. I used the buckthorn blaster up the stem on one side, and it worked. Wow. It's got a lot of bending over, but if you only have a dozen to work with, but a tree blew down, and the next year a bunch of stuff. It worked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So in your Donald patch, did you have any aspen to mop up in that whole area, or do you think all the roots are dead?
I think they're dead, but there's still some on the year trail. It
Okay,
came up new, there's so much rain this year, anything was gonna grow root, so we have some new ones.
okay.
So, but the old ones are not, they're not resprouting new. But I
And the amount of new ones is too low. It's a
no,
big reduction.
you were feeling positive about it, so go for it.
Wayne, he was our botanist before. He swear that basal barking on aspen is way more successful than the cut trees on aspen, because it doesn't spark that, instincts to sprout as much. The same with the black locust.
Because I did try a basal bark on some sumac
Yeah.
in the prairie, and there's more sumac, there's more sumac there. So,
Big fields of sumac that we basal bark, we
Yeah.
had to do it like 3 times.
next rest one.
We ran into something else related to herbicides. This isn't an issue for parks. Probably get materials from you, but I guess you have to get certain types of backpack sprayers that have the right kind of seals and O-rings on them.
Yeah,
You want to get the raw material. You can't use an oil-based herbicide in those things. So they don't tell you that when you buy it. They find it out in the weekend after you've already bought it. So I made a mistake on that. I just want to warn anybody. Takes what they learned from parks and applies it elsewhere. You gotta get the right kind of sprayer, the right kind of.
Yeah, you want ones that are meant for oil-based herbicide with the kind of gas in.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, you can use a water-based sprayer with oil-based, but yeah, it's just likely to deteriorate.
I had a leak all over you or the land against that, so that was another thing I didn't do.
That was one of the problems we had with the little trigger pump hand sprayers, is they wouldn't tell you all the time like what type of plastic it is. It might just say chemical resistant, but then there's a million different chemicals involved. So we kept going through all these chemical resistant sprayers. A year ago, I think we had a coffee hour talking about types of sprayers, and so many of them just started leaking or imploding on itself. And we just finally, I think we found maybe a couple that have the proper seals for our stump solution, garland. Well, it seemed like they're doing better, I can tell, but our backpack sprayers they have a Vicon seals. Those are compatible with our herbicides. They don't always tell you when you go buy a backpack sprayer, like what kind of seals it has. Roll up to your garland, stuff like that.
So, yeah, a good thing to know. What about those, the most critters I could have used, sulfur for, Alberta? Yeah, so I got like an extra load, and told you that that could be used for basal bark.
Are they the little box sprayers that we had in the Living Road
They're like
house?
that, they're like, the chicken.
And I don't think they are. I think,
You would think that they could help use that.
I think even with the building, might not go forever. But
That's the nice thing about the herbicides too. You know, you don't have seals and stuff in there, just.
yeah, Any questions, comments?
Things you'd like to see at the Tues Coffee Hour that we haven't covered or talked about or? Community outreach? Speak on that. Like how we can, like effective ways to like pull people in, like workdays or educational flyers about invasive species. So if you see something in someone's private property, you can be like, hey, and here's what it is and what you can do and hey, I'll help you do it, but you know, like it's not with, you know, those are the kinds of things, because it's just like the suburbs, people like not knowing about the park that's right next to them and stuff, and just, hey, this is something going on.
So part of your goal would be also to recruit volunteers, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Your effort out there at the parks.
Yeah.
How do you get people around?
Yeah.
There's probably some good ideas here for people. You wanna,
We use social media,
There is a Facebook.
There are only a couple of Facebook groups, and I put one thing on that link in there, and I just post them off here then. And generates a lot of interest in terms of. That's a good way, because, I mean, we're right there, right next to it, we just across the street. We want to just walk there and so. Like this police ways about that. Yeah. No, you're not, you're between where they are, it's the ragweed, things like that, or. Like that, in my life, I think that's not good.
I don't know
It's a
how,
form of love, too.
our last workday we had, epic. No, not epic, exact science. And Nell took a picture and a couple of women had worn leggings after walking through stick fights. They looked like, took a picture and posted it. I said, why did you do that? Oh, see that. So I don't know about how you tell people don't wear leggings to the, events and stuff, appropriate clothing.
Yeah, so for us, we try to have things like that in our descriptions on our events, like, say, for our seat budgets, we recommend wear long sleeves, sturdy pants, or like whatever, and then I also have a document written up with that kind of description in more detail that I give to, corporate groups when they sign up, because then they can share it with their employees, and they're not seeing the event, they're like signing them up for the event for them, and so then they can like disperse that information. And I think it does say on there something like, we recommend you wear long pants, because we're in, identification, and, we recommend you wear clothing that is not like soft or will have big stick to it, or something like that. They have about like stick seeds being that, so. You can try to have those like written in somewhere, but if you have like advertisements what kind of work you're doing, but I find a lot of people just still don't get what that means, so they don't understand when they're out there.
show up our language.
Yeah.
Are there young people?
Gotta love shorts.
Yeah, we always have people showing their shorts and,
Oh, yeah.
flip flops with in person.
I
I
actually
actually wearing
think
long sleeves and long pants in the hot sun, you just can't imagine.
No.
And I know when I first bought Van, and was urbanized, I didn't have clothing that I could use, I found out the hard way what you had, you gotta go to Farm and Fleet.
Well, there was some people like, it's not like you have to have really nice REI pants, whatever. Just, if you have a pair, unless it's like, so hot you can't even be outside. You have a pair of jeans, you got a little hot, but they're gonna work. Like get a pair of jeans, get an old long sleeve shirt, and whatever. You have tennis shoes, fine. Like that's okay, So I think some people like you say outdoor clothing, but they don't want to get what that means. Like they don't have a picture in their head of what that is, right? So I try to be like descriptive, like the kind of things that they might have in their closet. But some people just, so listen.
Don't say old clothes.
Yeah. If I Because
Not
I
like
make people are happy if I work with. If it's somebody new, I would give them extra. And I'll say, old clothes, or that, clothes that can handle some thorny or bushy. I don't want to scare people away, right? But once you talk about thorns, then, you know, I think they're doing it. I bring clothes with me. I have, some windbreakers I got in Goodwill that I carry in the car. Those are things, and some hats. Most people who aren't wearing a hat don't want to wear a hat. No matter how cold it is outside, you know, just little stocking hats. But I have. For the clothes. But, yeah. But yeah, that, so the RSVP and, you know, and there are a lot of good reasons to have, you know, and that's one of them.
I think also just if you, wherever your event or like, you just, your list of work days, if you find a website anywhere, like have that in the description. And we can like look at, if we don't have it that way, read it on like our website, update that. So I work on a lot of them, but, yeah, it might be good to make sure that like, right there, as soon as they see that in the thing they can go do, it says like, these are the clothes you should wear. But we can kind of exhaustive with that as well.
And I'm still remembering a couple of young women that they played Blaking's on anyway. But I don't think they got to find out, but it's been happening.
I've got an email, whoever signed up the day before, relatively on there. More recently, I was like, 33 months spray. Bring a, you know, yeah. The community, it's like the most fun nights. That's scary for off the, you know, they're just like there. So, then I'll go to, you know, it's been a little money, so make sure you're in the shoe.
Or you want to tip on recruiting volunteers, because it might be worth it to go to some of their work days, some other people's work days, land stewards, or it's county work days, and see how other people do it. A lot of people that come to South Carolina are very successful in volunteer turnout and getting those people to come back. And it's not just like one thing, it's, man, it's a lot of work to put in to like get people. Anyone will be sure just to see how it is.
Yeah.
But if you want them to return, that's a little harder.
Yeah.
So just thinking through all the different techniques and individuals they use, that we use, takes more than any of us probably ever imagined when we started, but making sure that they're cared for during the workday, that they get something out of it, that it's educational, there's snacks.
There's water,
Bathroom.
like enough gloves and so, and the tools.
Yeah.
So that's what the RSVP is like. Just bring that many gloves.
Yep.
Because a lot of people aren't gonna have their own, they don't start their own mascara.
Then they're not gonna have an experience if their hands are all raw.
Right, or they have to wait for a tool, or they are standing around.
Yep, yep. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is that if you want them to invest in the park, you have to invest in them.
Yeah.
Like make sure they're comfortable and happy, feel welcome, and all these different things that a lot of us maybe just go right by. You want to listen to volunteers and don't think about. And we do have groups that don't think about these things. They don't have a lot of volunteers. So it's not one thing, but
Yeah. I feel like I kind of need to go that route, just because I don't have I have not a lot of empathy. And getting people actually like knowing what is going on, because I don't know, it might just be where we are, the city and stuff, like, you can think anybody, nobody really knows what's going on besides like broader citywide things and or like right on the south side of Madison, so we get over.
yeah.
And so I think it's important for our neighborhood, and when I can't go out a lot, like, I haven't gotten out this year at all. It was like their school, and then the summer was like previously hot, about middle of the summer, and now it's like, oh, now I can actually start thinking about these things. But then more people follow this president.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dan, you can't only work yourself, because we're like, oh, let's focus on these areas. So like, let's actually like show maps and show like what needs to be worked on in general, like kind of come up with like broad plans. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll just do that. And I'm like, no, you can start doing that, but like, we need to help you.
That's actually what I was just gonna say, is like, I feel like the thing that, you know, when I started volunteering to come back the most was that, you know, ours and, you know, here, like, they provided, like, I wasn't clearly not just a, what do you think, a body, but like, largely explain, you know, I agree with all this with a breath of it. Last year we did that, and like, give you some context, and you get invested in the context that, you know, and like, and talk about the progress that's been made. But that's what made me come back, like, because I could see how, like, my little, you know, 3 hours a week plays a part in a, you know, and actually like pretty dramatic. But yeah, I think it's kind of what you're talking about, like,
Yeah.
helping people understand, like, why are you doing this now? How does it fit into the big picture? And why did we work with you last year? And so that this year there's less work on it, but just providing context, I think is strong.
Yeah, but not just like show up and told you fix on the right file.
Yeah.
That's helpful, but.
Yeah,
Why?
totally. And don't get discouraged that it's not launching right away, like it takes time to build that community. I think all of you, Kathy's got huge turnouts these days, but you started with just a couple of them.
Well, it's a phone like you.
Yeah.
As I pointed out, we only see what this is. But they are really good. Few people sometimes get trying to. Some of them like wonderful people hold summer off. She's like, setting up something and then people coming along. We've got a second generation one. One of our, two of our regular volunteers had a baby trying brought her along. That is so cute. Oh, wow. Now, the mom is getting work at the husband, but it's kind of great to see.
Yeah.
Kind of, again, it builds communities.
You're waiting to see that the whole offer.
Yeah.
They are hiring a baby. It's like in October, and they're like, yeah, we're still on leave, we'll just come. I'm like our kid came when he was like littler, but he like sat in the car and pushed buttons. He wasn't like a baby. Yeah.
But I do think it's important that you said that people feel invested in it. So I have tons of before and after pictures on my phone. I like to show that to the new people and not get volunteer students. This is all about the community. You know, it's just little by little. If you only come for an hour, that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, say little time is a thing.
Yeah. For us, the Dane County Parks events page was where people the event. I don't know how they find the Dane County Parks events page, but that's where they can do. You know, I started out just advertising to the Thunder County Park, and that is working. Because a lot of them are older people who were the like first generation of volunteers, and now they're 80 years old, and so they're not that active. But I get all sorts of things.
Yeah. We get people asking when we're out doing work days, or how you go on and walking their dog or somebody. So, hey, you guys doing? Yeah, I'd like to start there. You tell them how to sign up. They might collect their senior student. Be welcome all kinds of people. So that's big news.
I know a lot of corporations have a point person who searches for volunteer opportunities. And I know Nell always will take pictures and send it to that person so that The whole Schumacher got out there, they banked this, and followed up with different stuff, so.
Exact science is great. You can get on there, but
Mhm.
it's awesome. It has like 4 different groups already this year.
Yeah.
They have so many employees, and they encourage them to volunteer, and they have a little list of like, here's your recommendations, so like, you get on it, it's like, you're good. Somebody needs to hire stuff though. You guys had people time with this?
Couple times, and now it's faded out. We got
Yeah.
a lot of volunteers.
I think they don't encourage it the same way, like, I think from what I've heard, exact sciences, like, they're really like, hey, here are the hours that you are encouraged to volunteer, and like, you get incentives, like, kitchen time for volunteering, and like, they have it all in one place, where it's epic, like, they really have to organize it themselves, and I don't even know if they always get paid for it.
They don't get paid for it.
Yeah, so they're not very incentivized.
Lists of opportunity. And one time we were at the top of the list and, I had like 6 in one day. We are still getting up with people and people were employed by them, but they're seeing it on your events, not so much through their.
They're looking for ways to get outside, because it's so sick of being behind a computer. Yeah. They want to, or they're new to encounter a ton of people from elsewhere, around the world, and around the US. And they're just waiting for some kind of connection with somebody, some nature, and that's really helpful. But I will probably still see some people from there, but
We are average, I'm not anti-epic. I work with, but like their average tenure of their staff is 8 months. So, people, because they just burn out. So you're not gonna get probably long-term volunteers.
You could take out flyers, stick them in the window, all forever. When you're standing.
Well, they're only there for, they move on to something else. So, I think they just, they burn those stuff out. So I'm not anti-epic. I don't know, there is.
Yeah. Good thought.
one other question about publicity. Who does publicity for Dane County Parks?
We have Susan Stanford, who we know from plant stuff. Her actual job is not doing plant stuff, but she is our outreach specialist. So she does for parks anyway, the publicity. I think she does for all of them. Yeah, all of that.
We probably have a lot of things. That's good to know. But we may want to think of more formal strategy for certain projects.
Yeah, and we do like, I have access to it, like I post a lot of stuff on our social media, temporary related, things like that, but she would be the point person because she already has some stuff like big, easy to go out, and she has ideas about avenues and stuff, but yeah. Anything else?
I'll just say, I went out this morning and did the seed collect, the first ever seed collect in the landfill.
What's how that's done?
It was a blast.
Oh, I wanted to get rid of it.
Beautiful. Did not, I was worried like, is it gonna smell terrible? Are there gonna be rats running over my feet? Like, no, there were, they take you up in a little van and it is very much like, here's the closed part of the landfill where they, working on, burning up the prairie, and like, right there is the active. You are right there with the, where the trucks I think are, but it's great, it's beautiful. They're saying they have to plant, more shallow, because there's a cap, I got the land listed on that product. So it's also, it's beautiful. So right now, it was lovely. It's super fun to go out there. Super interesting. They do a really good job. The landfill folks is kind of like explaining all the things they're doing on that. Like methane, from the landfill and scrubbing it, and selling it to quick trip. So it's, I don't know, the tiny picture. There's going to be another one until next year, but it's so fun.
Good, they're fun for it.
No rats. No rats.
They also would probably require them to never get any burning.
Yes,
Oh,
it's,
I bet.
it's,
That's
yes.
I mean, what happens if they
one day, so.
Next year's away. Mow it super short, fair. We get on Springfield fire.
Oh,
Phil, any other thoughts?
Not really, not really. Hoping to see you guys out at some seed collection soon. I'm gonna, if it works out, I see you guys are going to Badger Prairie next Tuesday. I might try to meet you there. Lars, I was gonna try to like all those 10 plots where I put the wood betony seed. I was gonna go check all those stakes and maybe reflag them in case the flagging tape has blown away during the summer.
Okay.
Um, with the hope that I can that the tape is still there at the end of winter, then so I can find the stakes easy enough.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey, Phil, could you maybe take a few photos that we could look at sometime?
Of the wood betony.
Yeah, of your plots, how it all looks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that 'cause I just spread the seed, in the spring or late spring or early summer. So they don't look like anything yet. The seed should germinate hopefully next spring.
We have
Um,
photos.
yeah, yeah. And hopefully, and then I'll keep it mowed a couple times to let it those lower growing plants grow up. Whenever Lars tells me I should mow, I guess, or I'll keep an eye on it. But
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully we'll see some good rosette leaves next year.
awesome, Bill.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks for letting us collect wood betony off your remnant prairie.
What's that?
Thanks for letting us collect your wood betony.
Yeah,
That was-
yeah. It's fun. I mowed a few areas on our land, and even in these areas where I didn't think we had some or didn't have very much, by mowing nearby, I'm noticing that there are a bunch of little leaves, rosettes there. So yeah, I think by keeping the vegetation low for a little bit, there's quite a bit that can pop out. Other than that, I've already been spraying stuff because I don't really have much seed to collect right now. So I've already started spraying. Is it a little too early I mean, I try to avoid little oaks and stuff that still have leaves, but if it's mostly invasive, it's fine to spray already, right?
Yeah, foliar spring?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
These are areas that have only been reseeded with grass, really heavily impacted areas.
Yeah, go for it. You just have to try to avoid the good stuff, but we hit good stuff too. When you go out there, it happens.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't have any other questions though right now.
All good.
Thanks, everyone.
No, we'll see ya.
Take some food for the road.
And Lawrence,